Hi, it's the Bella DeVero Foundation, and I wanted to talk about belonging and the false healing method. So, in astrology and not astrology, the only way to heal is to bring up the pain, but doing that is the 8th house, Pluto, transformation and growth. The only way to heal the whatever you need transformed and to grow about is to bring up the pain about it, not bury it. So, whenever two people, friends or family members or husband and wife are dating or whoever, co-workers or whoever have an argument, and then they go their separate ways, that buries the pain if they don't deal with it. So the false healing method is to cut people off. I see all on social media, letting go is the thing to do, and it doesn't heal. What it does is bury the pain. Whenever you have the argument and then you go your separate ways and you're done with it, that doesn't heal. It buries the pain. Whenever you stick it out with the person and let yourself feel the pain and communicate about it or whatever, or think about it and try to heal it yourself, that heals the pain. But I have a method I created for healing because of studying people and whatever. I did this for my foundation, but I did it for a birth astrology birth chart reading for Harry Styles. It's PL or Pluto. That's the video it's in. It's for anyone and everyone that wants to heal, because you have to put unconditional love and understanding into it. You don't, and watch the whole video. It's a pretty long video, an hour and something. It's a practice. It's a own myself practice is what I called it, because for one thing, it's a practice, because you don't just do it one time and then you're done with it and healed, because that isn't the way people are made. And the own myself part of it is because you don't heal, you don't save people. You can teach each other how to heal and stuff, but you don't heal someone else's pain for them. You don't try to change people. You let someone be the way they are and give them unconditional love no matter what they're doing or not doing, or healing or not healing. So that's why I called it the own myself practice, because it's, whenever you heal your own self, healers like myself, no one can be a healer unless they're hurt. So healers, which could be anyone, especially people with psychic abilities, but anyway, they're called healers because they know how to heal themselves because they've been hurt. It's not to save people. That doesn't heal people. That makes people feel not unconditionally loved. So you gotta let someone be all of themselves in front of you, not just parts of themselves, like good or bad or, whatever, healed or not healed. That's in that video, and unconditional love is another video you can watch, and beliefs, which is JU or Jupiter, for Harry Styles' birth chart is the videos I did it in, like 2 videos, both titled that, or part 1 and part 2 or something, of Jupiter, JU. So, because your unhealthy beliefs about yourself that you don't deserve unconditional love is part of, Jupiter beliefs. So, that's why I'm mentioning those videos. So, like I said, the way to heal is to bring up the pain and face it, not bury it, not go on with your life and keep yourself so busy that you forget about the pain, because that's not going to heal you. That just buries your feelings, and it just doesn't heal you. So the thing is, even though I harp on unconditional love, the fact is that if you don't get unconditional love, that doesn't mean you don't belong with people, because there's no such thing as an energy vampire, for one thing. We're all mirrors for each other, and the fact is that you can't take someone else's energy from them. It's not humanly possible. So, and what qualifies someone to be labeled that asshole, label? I don't know. There's no set thing about it anywhere that I know of. And I've researched this and researched it more, so I'm quite sure I'd know if there was some whatever. It's not like some psychological uh, cluster B or cluster whatever else personality disorder label that psychologists give to people. It's just this nasty word that goes around. Like, histrionic or borderline, such things. Energy vampire is not a formal word for anyone. It's just this nasty asshole word that people somehow came up with. I don't know how people came up with it because it's not logical, because you can't take someone else's energy from them, because energy is chakras, and whether you're hurt or healed or frequency, whatever high or low frequency you're vibrating at, the chakras. And so you only heal or hurt your own or keep yourself the same, and someone else does their own stuff. You can be around anyone and everyone and not be affected by them necessarily. And, like, I'm not saying that you can't, well, have psychic abilities and feel what is going on around you, but or whatever. I'm not saying that you don't notice stuff, but people can be around each other and notice such things and not be affected by it, because you're only controlling your own stuff. You it's not humanly possible to have someone else's chakras and their own energy and their own frequency. You only have your own thoughts, and then your actions and so forth is what controls your own chakras. Someone else's thoughts and actions don't control your own chakras and your own frequency. You only can control your own. So the fact is that you can be friends with everyone and anyone on this planet. And the other thing is, no one's perfectly healed or, whatever. So we all have, different frequencies throughout the day or month or whatever. And the process of healing things and being more healed is possible, but it's not this thing where you get more healed and more healed and things don't come up again. You always have things come up, subjects that you heard about or whatever, and it's never this thing where you're ever gonna be perfectly healed about anything. It's not the way humans are. You can manage your pain and so forth, but you can't perfectly heal it and not be a person and not have to deal with everyday human feelings that get brought up, because we're always interacting with each other, so we're always going to be bringing up stuff for each other. And you can make a practice of healing, but it's always going to come up. You always have to keep healing yourself. There's never going to be this time where you're perfectly healed and then that's it. So we're all the same, and we all need to understand that about ourselves and quit saying that, you're less hurt than I am and I'm, more hurt than you or whatever, because that's not the way it works. And like I said, in my other videos and maybe this one already, you're only a healer if you've been completely hurt and you're, you know, pretty much at rock bottom and you need to find a way to heal yourself. That's who is healers. Healers aren't people that haven't been hurt. So if you think anyone's a healer and that they're not haven't been hurt, they're not a healer. There's no such thing as someone that is a healer that isn't completely just hurt so much. That's just not how it works. The only healers on this planet that there are people that have been hurt. So, and any hurt person can have psychic abilities. It's very, you know, common for tons of people to have psychic abilities, or, you know, it can be blocked or buried or whatever, but it's only people that are hurt. It's not any not hurt person that can have psychic abilities. That's not a thing. So we all can be friends with each other and be around each other. So there's no such thing as, you know, different groups of people of being hurt and not hurt, you know. So the point is that whenever you have this false healing method of cutting people off and, you know, your pain getting buried, you know, there's this thing on social media. I don't know if I already said this. There's this letting go thing, you know, and moving on with your life all on social media, and it pisses me off to see it because it's not the proper way to heal. If you cut off everyone that has ever hurt you or that's ever going to hurt you, then you're not going to have people in your life because we're all the same. We all do and say things that hurt. So you can't just cut off people from your life and say, okay, I'm not hurt now. That doesn't heal. That's such a mixed up way to think, you know, that you're healed, because you're burying what just happened and what needs to be healed. When you do that, you haven't dealt with the pain yet. Whenever you know, like something happens, you cut the person off, you're done with the situation. That doesn't heal right then. Whatever you're really hurt about, you're burying, and then that's what needs to be healed still. That's how that works. And it doesn't work to say that is the healing method, because it doesn't bring up the pain that way. It buries it. So whenever people that are hurt put themselves in different groups, you know, of healed and not healed and stuff and whatever, you know, that creates these scenarios where we think we belong to this group and not that group, or, you know, whatever. And whenever people let their egos control their pain so much that they don't want to deal with it, that's really when people think they belong to this group and that group. And so the thing is that whenever I'm not speaking for anyone else that might happen to disagree with me and put videos on YouTube, which I've seen, about belonging. I'm only speaking for myself and my own foundation. So agree with me or disagree with me, that's fine. But I don't agree with people that say that we need to belong to certain groups or not belong, or that you never belonged to a group whenever they've put conditions on you. I think it's choices. Whatever you choose. Whenever you choose to be a part of groups, that's who you belong with. And if you choose not to, then whatever. But it's a choice. Belonging is a choice. It's nothing else. And the way to belong is to find what you have in common with each other, which we all have plenty in common with each other. There's a little method of belonging, but it's a choice, and it's keeping on finding what you have in common with people, not letting the arguments take over, you know. That's why most relationships end, because the arguments get brought up eventually, and then they forget to keep on figuring out or reminding ourselves what we have in common, what we're like or what we like or whatever as people or together, what we like to do or what we like to do separately, together or separately, what we have in common about, all that stuff, you know. So people, whenever the argument stage of relating gets brought up, that's usually when people decide they don't belong anymore, or if they never wanted to get along because choose to get along or to work through things because of fear or jealousy or whatever else there is, That's a choice. It's not that you don't belong with people. We're all the same. I always want people to not be in groups, It's not humanly possible for every person on this planet to be in one group, but just for what I'm trying to explain, I want everyone on this planet to belong in one group and see that we're all the same, which I'm not the only one that says such things, that we're all the same. It's all on YouTube in the spiritual world. So I want that instead of people putting themselves in different kinds of groups and labeling themselves this and that and the other thing. Because, like I was saying, whenever the disagreeing stage comes up and then the arguments, it's a choice who you belong with. So many people choose not to deal with their own selves. So then it gets in the way of relating. That doesn't mean you don't belong with people. It's just this choice that we've all made. Whether you choose to have certain people in your life your whole life or not, that's not the point exactly. The point is that we've all had someone or another that we've chosen not to relate to still. It's just a pure choice. There's nothing else to it. And I'd like to make it clear, as a professional astrologer, I don't agree with some astrologers that say the transits are why you're not in each other's lives anymore. That's not true. The difficult transits that come up, that aspects, that are in the sky between planets, like Mars square Pluto or something. Mars is fighting Pluto's inner demons and transformation and growth. Square is the most difficult, aspect there is. It's tension, needing to work something out. Whenever that transit is going on in the sky, and then we cut each other out of our lives, it wasn't necessary. It was a choice. We chose to. That doesn't mean you don't belong with people. It means that you chose that. Sometimes people need to choose not to relate to each other, I guess, because they don't want to deal with it. Because maybe you just tear each other apart if you didn't stop relating to each other. But it's because you're choosing not to deal with it. That's the only choice there is whenever you're not wanting to deal with stuff. But you could deal with your own self and then the relating to each other. And then you could choose to be around each other still. But the root of it is that you choose not to deal with your own stuff. It's not because you can't be around people. So it's just a pure choice whenever people use that false healing method and then they say they don't belong with people. You're never gonna, sorry, I have to adjust my phone here. I have carpal tunnel. I can't hold the phone like that forever. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. Okay. So you're never going to be in this perfect setting where you're, around people that don't have to heal themselves or anything, You're never going to be in this perfect setting where you're not arguing with people. You're never going to be in a perfect setting, where whatever, all sorts of things like that, So there's no such place is perfect for you to be. So you can't research the hell out of it and then get all bothered about it and try out this group and that group and the other group and see what works best for you, what, like, as if it's people getting along better. That's not how life works. The like getting along better thing with people, that's in the beginning of the relating, and then things come up. You're always going to have things come up with every group of people there ever was on this planet. And how many people you choose to closely relate to is your choice, but you don't need to be in a certain kind of setting that doesn't work for you, whatever works for you. But there's no such thing as not belonging to people, that didn't give you unconditional love, because there's not many people on this planet that really do that very much that I see. And it's not good to put that condition on people where if you're not practicing unconditional love in a certain kind of a way, that that means you belong or don't belong with people. That's not how it works. We all belong with each other. That's all there is to it. We all need to belong to people. We all do. We're all people. People and people are the same thing. So we don't need to belong to any certain group or not belong to it because of how much time it took for us to get into the arguing. We have differences stage of things. I'm not saying insert yourself into groups that you don't originally belong to and say you belong to them. Like, if you are a financial advisor, don't go pretending like you're opera singer and say, okay, I belong to this group now. I'm not saying you should act your way through life like that. I'm not saying that you should, make a thing of belonging to every last single group on this planet or anything. I mean, if there's a group of musicians or some sort of violinist or whatever, and then they say, okay, I'm gonna go be a mail worker, and then they never have that kind of job. You can be friends with each other, obviously, but don't say you are if you're not, for one thing. And don't just go insert yourself into that group just because you have some psychological problem and want to say you belong to that group because you're not dealing with your stuff. I'm not saying act your way through life. I'm just saying you can certainly belong to any group on this planet, but it takes time to, it's like a little process that happens. You get to be friends with each other and so forth. So that's how that works. And I've seen on social media and elsewhere that people used to not be friends, and then they were, they worked through things or whatever, used to hate each other, and then they don't. So, don't put up walls and, say, I can't belong to people, for this reason or that reason, because it's not how life works. So, just keep this in mind whenever you're wanting to belong to groups, because I think it's unhealthy for spiritual groups or teachers to say that you never belonged to a group if you never got unconditional love from them. Because I think that in itself is not an unconditional love statement to make. I think it's I think it just turns into an excuse then, and it just doesn't help anything to say things that way. So anyway, I'll just leave it at that for now, and if I want to add to this video, I'll make another one then. So anyway, thanks for watching, and feel free to leave comments and questions and whatever.